Shalom, shalom, Israel's brothers Abayala. Coming back at you with another cold cut. Gonna keep coming with these cold cuts, man. All praise to Yahweh Bashim Yahshua. Right? I'm gonna go over, discipline, having temperance within the spirit. Going over fighting spirits, going over identify spirits, going over having integrity and long suffering when you're dealing with these spirits. But now the action behind it is having that discipline, saying no to yourself, saying no to yourself and being able to control yourself. All right, let me get this precept real quick just to kind of kick it off. Damn. Come on. James chapter 2 and verse 17. And it says, even so, faith, if it have not works, is dead being alone. So, having that faith, of course, is important. You want to believe that you can, do certain things. You want to believe in the Most High and believe that you can overcome these spirits, all praises. But the work behind it is now actually having the discipline. You got to have the discipline to be able to say no to yourself. You got to have the discipline to kind of have that temperance in the spirit, because that's what it's all about. You won't need to, a lot of it is, just having discipline when you're dealing with different things. Let me get another precept. Let me go to the book of Sirach. All right, let me go to Sirach 41. Yep. Sirach chapter 41. You got to have that discipline, man. All right. This is the book of Sirach chapter 41. And verse 14. My children, keep discipline in peace, for wisdom that is hid and a treasure that is not seen, what profit is in them both. So you want to keep discipline in peace. You got to have that discipline. If you keep discipline in peace, you're going to be able to, have that more. Your faith is going to abound more and more as you're starting to overcome, battle these demons, saying no to Satan. You're going to start feeling more power and control over your spirit, man. Through the spirit. Let me get one more precept. Go to Wisdom of Solomon. All right, this is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 6 and verse 17. And it says that for the very true beginning of her is the desire of discipline, and the care of discipline is love. So for you to receive that wisdom, you got to have that. You have to desire discipline. You got to want discipline. A lot of people don't want discipline, so they don't practice it. But you got to be able to want to say no to yourself, to have control over your body. A lot of people just submit to these demons. A lot of people just fall to these demons and let these demons have their way with them. You got to have discipline, and you got to desire that discipline. And the care of discipline is love. And the love is keeping of her laws. So if the care of discipline is love and love is keeping of the laws, you get discipline by maintaining these laws, statutes, commandments. And the giving heed unto her laws is the assurance of incorruption. And incorruption maketh us near unto the Most High. Therefore, the desire of wisdom bringeth to a kingdom. So if you desire wisdom, you got to desire discipline. And if you get that wisdom, you get brought forth to a kingdom. But the root of that is having that discipline that works to say no, or the temperance over your spirit. You got it.
Yeah, like the brother saying, that spirit of discipline, it's a real important spirit to have in these last days, because the kingdom, you trying to get to the kingdom of heaven is all based on discipline, right? The Lord said in the book, I'm going to get this in 2nd Ezra chapter 7 and verse number 6, it says, there's also another thing. A city is builded and set upon a broad field, and is full of all good things, talking about the kingdom of heaven. It says the entrance thereof is narrow, and is set in a dangerous place to fall, like as if it were a fire on the right hand, and on the left deep waters. So the Lord said that the kingdom of heaven, trying to get there, is like a fire being on the right hand side and deep waters on the left. A fire, you got doctrines, you got trials, tribulations, you got the world. And you got the left hand side, you got the waters, the different, the same thing, the different things of the world. And it says, reading on, and only one path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there could but one man go there at once. And it's a small path between that fire and that water. And now again, he said only one man can go there at once. I mean, it's like a tightrope. So you walking on this tightrope to the kingdom of heaven. You just go a little bit to one side or a little bit to the other side, then you fall and you route this thing. That's literally based off discipline on how focused your mindset has to be when walking, and when you on this walk with serving the Most High and serving this walk towards the kingdom of heaven. You have to remember, okay, it's one path only. If I go a little bit to the right, I could possibly die. If I go a little bit to the left, hey, that can be it. And that should give your mind and should give you some type of realization how serious and how much discipline we actually need to be able to endure these last days. It's the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 1 and verse number 7. I'm starting at verse 5. I'm starting at verse 4. Wisdom of Solomon 1 and 4. It says, for into a malicious soul wisdom shall not enter, nor dwell in the body that is subject unto sin. So the Lord said wisdom is not going to dwell in a body that's subject unto sin. Right? Verse 5. For the Holy Spirit of discipline will flee deceit. So the Lord has something called the Holy Spirit of discipline. Every man should desire that Holy Spirit of discipline. Right? It says, I'm going to read that again, verse 5. For the Holy Spirit of discipline will flee deceit and remove from thoughts that are without understanding, and will not abide when unrighteousness comes in. So in your inward parts of your mind, your mindset, you should be dwelling on the laws, the commandments, the statutes, etc. Because that's how that Holy Spirit of discipline is going to enter in you. Again, every man, woman, child should be desiring the spirit of discipline. Because again, the Lord, like how we went through on the last couple videos, the Lord is going to try you. But it all goes back to your discipline and how much integrity you have for the Lord. But you got it.
That's right, man. Right? Because if you don't have a discipline, you're going to be a slave. You see, that discipline makes you a servant of the Lord. No discipline makes you a servant to Satan and sin. There's Romans chapter 6 and 12. Let not sin reign therefore in your mortal body, that you should obey it in the lust thereof. Neither yield your members as instruments of unrighteousness unto sin, but yield yourselves unto the Most High, as those that are alive from the dead, and your members as instruments of righteousness unto God. So for you to yield your members as instruments unto the Most High, you have to have discipline to do that. You gotta make yourself serve the Lord. But if you don't, you're gonna be a servant of sin. You're gonna serve somebody. All right, let me hold that. Let me get this book in Matthew 6 and 20. You're gonna serve somebody. Either you're gonna serve yourself in your flesh, or you're gonna serve the Lord. But you're gonna serve someone. All right. It's Matthew chapter 6 and 24. And it says, no man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve the Most High and Mammon. So you can't serve you and the Most High. You can't serve Satan and the Lord, but you're gonna serve somebody. You can't say, well, I'm in the middle. No, brother, there is no being in the middle, man. You can't be stuck in the middle. Malcolm in the middle. You can't do that, man. You're either gonna serve the Lord by yielding your servants to righteousness, but if you yield your servants to unrighteousness, you automatically serve Satan. There's no in between. But the Lord said you can't serve two masters. So if you want to serve the Lord, you got to yield and force yourself to serve the Most High. Your flesh is not going to serve the Lord. That's why there's a war, as it says in 1 Peter 2 and 11, between your spirit and your flesh. All right, let me go back to that. All right, it's Romans chapter 6 and verse 14. For sin shall not have dominion over you. You don't want sin to have dominion over you. Right? And it says, for you are not under the law, but under grace. What then? Shall we sin because we are not under the law, but grace? God forbid. Know you not that to whom you yield your servants to obey, his servants to whom you are obeyed? So wherever you yield your servants, your members to obey, that's who you're going to serve, man. Either you're going to serve Satan by committing acts of wickedness, or you're going to serve the Lord by committing acts of righteousness. Right? Whether of sin unto death or obedience unto righteousness. So we got to understand that. So that discipline is going to help you, propel you to serve the Lord. All right, let me get this in the Sirach chapter 19. It's Sirach 19 and 5. Whoso taketh pleasure in wickedness shall be condemned, but he that resisteth pleasures crowneth his life. So if you resist pleasures and you're good at resisting the things that you like and submitting unto the things of the Lord, unto what the Lord desires, you're going to crown your life. But if you always give yourself unto pleasures, sensual pleasures, things that you like, things that you desire more than the Most High, even if it's unrighteous, guess what? You're going to be condemned. You're going to be judged in that day. It may not be now, maybe not be 10 years from now, but you're going to be judged ultimately for always wanting to serve yourself. You got to know how to resist pleasures, right? It's Sirach 18 and 30. Go not after thy lusts, but refrain from thyself from thine appetites. Jake always say, I got an appetite for this. Yeah, I got an appetite. Appetite is something that you want. But if you know how to refrain from the things that you want and have discipline, fasting takes discipline, right? A lot of people don't fast because they don't have that. That's just saying I don't really have a lot of discipline. That's all it is, right? If thou givest thy soul the desires that please her. So if you keep giving your soul into your appetites, what? She will make thee a laughing stock to thine enemies that malign thee, right? So who's your enemies? Yeah, on the physical level, that's, the other nations, Esau, they'll use the things that you love to entice you. You see that in, torture tactics. They put you in a little small room. They're like, here, just take the cigarette. You want a cigarette? Well, we need, Jamal, we need some names, man. Okay, how about, can we give you a donut? Right? And Jake said, can I get sprinkles on it? Right? And Italian beef with some fries, with the salt and pepper and some ketchup.
Pepsi.
Yeah, and the Pepsi with the ice. And next thing you know, he done gave up about 20 names. Right? And he got out of jail yesterday. But on a spiritual level, your enemies are these demons. These demons, if you keep giving your soul into these pleasures, these demons will just keep feeding you certain pleasures. And now you're never able to say stop. Now you're drowning. And guess what? And it says you're going to be made a laughing stock. So you got to know how to have that discipline. A warrior has discipline. A military mindset just doesn't give himself over to anything, even if he likes it. You got to know how to say no. That's a childish thing. Let me go to 1 Corinthians 13. Children, all they want is, sweet things, candy. They don't know how to say no to themselves, man. Right? 1 Corinthians 13:11. When I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. So when you grow up, you got to know how to put away childish things. You can't think like a child anymore. You can't understand like a child. Well, you can't speak as a child, man. You have to have that discipline. Didn't the Lord say you got to have a bar and door over thy mouth? Right, in the book of Sirach. So if you put a bar and door over something, you're cutting it off. You know when to say stop, man. Children don't know when to say stop. You got to have that discipline. Right, but you got to.
It's the book of James, chapter 4, and verse number 7. It says, submit yourselves, therefore, to God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. So the Lord said, resist Satan, resist the devil, and he's going to flee from you. And if you give in to Satan, you give in to the devil and these different spirits, that's not discipline. Right? You resisting the pleasures, you resisting the flesh, you resisting all these temptations. That's what discipline comes in, and that's how you build up your discipline. When you realize you're going toward these spirits, okay, I got to do A, B, and C. I'm actually starting at verse 1. It says, from whence come wars and fightings among you? Come they not hence? Even your lusts that war in your members. So you have certain lusts and certain desires that you deal with that war in your body parts, in your mind, in your members. It says, ye lust and have not. Ye kill and desire to have, and cannot obtain. Ye fight and war, yet ye have not, because ye ask not. It says, ye ask and receive not, because ye ask amiss, that ye may consume it upon your lust. So certain things, men, they just consume it upon their lust. They got a strong desire. Like the brother said, they can't say no to themselves. Again, discipline is having the ability to say no to yourself, to be able to resist sin, resist certain pleasures. Let's go to the book of Galatians, chapter 5, and verse number 17. Galatians chapter 5, verse 17. It reads, it's the book of Galatians chapter 5, and verse number 17. It says, start at verse 16. This I say then, walk in the spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. So if you're walking in the spirit, how can you fulfill the lust of the flesh? I mean, you're reading, you're praying, you're fasting, you're doing what you're doing to stay abound in the work. How can you fall to the flesh? But discipline comes in is where you should be always trying to abound in the spirit, not giving any leeway or any openings for Satan to come in, play games in your mind, and you start doing it. Are you done fasted? Let's say you went on a 2-day fast, right? Let's say for the week you did a 2-day fast. You read 4 chapters a day, went over precepts, etc. Let's say on the Sabbath, you start relaxing because you get content. Then sin comes in. he plays on your mind and you break the Sabbath. Well, brother, that's because you gave a little bit of leeway for Satan. You got too content with your works. You fell back and Satan, he hopped in there and made you go off. Discipline is telling yourself, hey, even though I did A, B, and C, it's still more to do. Again, always abounding and have your mind occupied on the words of the Lord. Let's go to the book of Job, chapter 31 and verse number 1. It says, I made a covenant with my eyes. Why then should I look upon a maid? And that's spiritual. That's not just on the physical level. Okay, I'm not going to look at any women. Sorry, the 9th chapter, I can't look at no women, etc. Even on the spiritual level, what is made, it's different doctrines. Right? Women are likened unto doctrines, or doctrines likened unto women. So Job said again, I made a covenant with my eyes. Why then should I look upon a maid? And you shouldn't be trying to look upon this world. Because America is known as a woman. Right now, looking at the ways of America, Babylon the Great, the philosophies, the ideologies of this place, every little thing can be compared to as a woman, right? And the Lord said, you knowing that your eyes should be hid from a woman, meaning hid from these different doctrines, etc. It says, verse 2, for what portion of God is there from above, and what inheritance of the Almighty from on high? Is not destruction to the wicked, and strange punishments to the workers of iniquity? Doth not he see my ways, and count all my steps? So doth not the Most High see everything that you do, counts all your steps, knows all the ways of men? Right, verse 5. If I have walked with vanity, or if my foot hath hasted to deceit, let me be weighed in the even balance, that God may know my integrity. Right? And you should be able to say that you have integrity in this thing. Integrity is doing what's right behind closed doors. So let's say you at camp, you on fire, you reading mighty, holding posts, chiming in. At camp, or when you just around brothers, you're the most mightiest brother. But behind closed doors, can you say that you still have that integrity and that might? Let's go, last precept, let's go to the book of Genesis, the 49th chapter. Right, because our forefather Joseph had integrity. Right, you read about Joseph and how Pharaoh gave him everything. Right, Joseph was literally his second in command under Egypt, under the Egyptian Empire, under Pharaoh. So this is the book of Genesis, chapter 39 and verse number 6. And he left all that he had in Joseph's hand. Talking about Pharaoh left everything to Joseph. It says, and he knew not all he had, save the bread which he did eat. And Joseph was a goodly person and well favored. And it came to pass after these things that his master's wife cast her eyes upon Joseph, and she said, lie with me. So after Pharaoh gave Joseph everything, you have Pharaoh's wife trying to hit on Joseph, saying, lie with me. Right? And we know through the precepts, you know what I'm saying, just reading between the lines, this couldn't have been no ugly woman. I mean, she's the wife of the king at this time. And she's telling Joseph, I mean, it's just them alone. She's telling Joseph, lie with me. Come unto me. And that can be this world telling you that. It's just you, yourself, you got the Most High, then you got Satan on the left-hand side. It's either you're gonna stray away and go to Satan, or you're gonna stay rounded and rooted in the words of the Lord, in the spirit of the Lord. It says, verse number 8, but he refused and said unto his master's wife, behold, my master wanteth not what is with me in the house, and he hath committed all that he hath to my hand. There is no greater in this house than I, neither hath he kept back anything but thee, because thou art his wife. And then how can I do this great wickedness, a sin against my God? And that gotta be our mindset. Okay, if I do this, I'm doing great wickedness. I'm sinning against my God. I'm sinning against my Creator that woke me up today, that fed me, that clothed me. I can't go off, right? And that was Joseph's mindset. And that's discipline. Telling yourself no when everybody else, the spirits, the left hand, the principalities on the left-hand side is telling you yes. This world is telling you yes. Right, verse 10, it says, and it came to pass, as she spake to Joseph day by day, that he hearkened not unto her to lie by her or to be with her. It said this woman came day by day. And that's how you know it's Satan. Because Satan is going to come day by day.
All right.
Minute by minute.
For a season.
Right. Second by second. Satan, because again, Satan is literally a spirit that's on fire. Read that in Psalms, the 104th chapter. Spirits are literally flaming fires. So Satan is always on fire. So he's coming day by day trying to get Joseph to go off. But let's read on. It says, and it came to pass about this time that Joseph went into his house to do his business. And there was, and there was none of the men of the house there within. So it's just Joseph in his house alone. It says, and she caught him by his garment, saying, lie with me. And he left his garment in her hand and fled and got him out. So this man, Joseph, by himself, she didn't come from behind a curtain trying to grab him, saying, lie with me. Joseph hit a Usain Bolt and got up out of there. Right? Because the Lord said in the book of Sirach, the 21st chapter. Let me get this real quick. It's the book of Sirach, chapter 21 and verse number 2. It says, flee from sin as from the face of a serpent. So Joseph, his mindset was to flee. The same way how the Lord said flee from sin, like it's from the face of a serpent, the same way you got to flee when you see these different spirits, these temptations coming upon you. And who do you run to? You run to the Lord. You run to this book, to the precepts, right? Because these precepts is going to help you withhold your integrity and stay rooted and rounded in the spirit of the Lord. But you got it.
I'm going to end it off with this. This is 2 Ezra chapter 2 and verse 47. So he answered and said unto me, it is the Son of God, whom they have confessed in the world. Then began I greatly to commend them that stood so stiffly for the name of the Lord. The word stiff means not easily be moved. You got to be stiff. For you to get this kingdom, receive a crown, you have to be stiff in the spirit. You can't be easily moved or knocked off by certain things. You can't continue to fall to the same transgressions over and over. You got to have discipline. You got to stay stiff in the spirit. All right? You got anything else?
I got that one closing precept. It's the book of Baruch, chapter 4, and verse number 28. It says, for as it was our mind to go astray from God, so be in return, seek him 10 times more. So everybody should be seeking the Most High 10 times more, 10 times harder, holding fast your integrity and your discipline, and keep enduring and pushing and keep the faith.
That's right. With that, we like to give our praise to Yahweh by Shem Yahushua. Keep discipline in his perfect peace. Right. And with that, we'd like to bid a mighty strong shalom.
Shalom.